It is live whenever we're ready to go. Should be live. Hey, just saying, on Twitch, I just got a notification. Welcome to the table went live. Echo, 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 echo.
I'm gonna always mute my.
I have my audio separate because I don't think it'll pick it up on Discord. Let me mute my. Actually, this doesn't. I'm trying to figure out how this is gonna work.
So Matt, how do these mics work when they're blinking? Are they muted or when they're not blinking?
No, it's blinking. It's muted.
So I can just mute myself until I'm ready.
I mean, I have a mute button too. Okay. See, the last time I did this, Discord doesn't pick up your mic. So unless that's changed. Although if you haven't been setting up a separate input, then maybe we're good.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to tonight's episode of T7. Sorry for the, if there was a weird instance with the sound. Matt is so kind to run the stream tonight, so it's in his control, so if anything goes wrong, I am not going to be blamed for it tonight. Right? Is that just tonight? Okay, good stuff. So tonight we have Matt is going to be present on the other camera because Emily and Matt have one camera. So Emily and Shay are joining me tonight. For those of you that this might be your first time on Welcome to the Tables channel, we are a tabletop role-playing game channel that streams every other Sunday night. That's when our regular campaign is. These T7 shows are kind of talking about the campaign, different random topics as well, things from the chat, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, a lot of the cast cannot join us tonight, which is totally fine. Everybody's got their own lives. I don't expect everybody to be here every night for these. So, but what I do have for you is the A team. I have the A team here tonight. That's who we have. So, did I introduce myself? I don't remember. We do these and then I forget these things. I'm Nate. I'm the historian. I run the games on the channel. But yes, we are going to get started with some topics. Do you guys want to say hi so the internet can hear you?
Hi.
Hello.
Are you guys doing that? Are you guys doing that fun thing where you have to push to talk so you don't get echoes in mics?
Matt has a push to talk thing. I've just been hitting the actual mute on my mic, so.
Oh, cool. Very cool. Good stuff. Nice. So last time, yeah, I was debating whether I was going to say this or not. But I will give the viewers a little bit of the secret. So our next episode will air. Next episode of the main campaign will air this Sunday. Just so everybody knows, the Christmas season for us is crazy. Everybody's got different things that's going on and stuff like that. So what we did was what you will see in the future happened in the past. We pre-recorded it. So we know what happens, but you don't yet. So we're not going to mention what happens. Hopefully. I think we can all agree to that, right?
I can't remember day-to-day events, so
Good stuff. All right.
should be fine.
Perfect. Good to hear. But it will air the same time, 6:30. So you all can join us, and if some of us can be in the chat, we will. Will be watching a kids Christmas program that evening. But what I'll just have my phone down, like a rude uncle, and text in the chat.
Rude father.
Well, it's
I
not
will
my
be
kid.
at my husband's team's employees' Christmas party, so I will also be
Nice.
sitting in the corner like a rude trophy wife.
Yes, love it. Good stuff. That's good. We're experimenting on tonight on the just chatting category, because that way it's not confusing for everybody that the T7 is not the tabletop game. It is a little bit different. So maybe we'll get some different viewers, some people that, maybe they don't know they're into tabletop role playing games yet. I don't know. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? Down with that. But what let's see, when was War Stories? Blanking on 26th? Was it 26th? Correct me if I'm wrong.
That sounds right.
Okay, good. So yes, that is up on the YouTube channel as well now. In case you missed that live. So we had some guests at the table, including Emily.
Wow, that was fun
Wow.
having Emily at the table.
Mhm.
It was fun being in front of the camera, but also stressful because I was too busy worrying about what was happening behind the camera.
For sure. Yeah, Emily was doing 2 jobs that evening.
It was
So
great. So if you heard my side of the table talking, but you didn't see us, that's why. Because I was paying attention to somebody else.
I love it. I think the one shot which was cracking me up, was when you were introducing yourself. I
Yep.
watched it back. You were introducing yourself, and it was on me
Yep.
the entire
That's great.
time.
Love
So
it.
Emily's debut,
Is
and
Nate.
I took the limelight.
Totally fine. You didn't need to see me anyway.
That's right, Seth. She did do great. She did a really great job. So it was really
Thanks, Seth.
fun. And my wife played at the table as well, Melanie. And she was really excited to be able to do that. She loves tabletop role playing games, and any excuse to have a night off from being a mom is can just be relaxing.
So, a night off from being a mom. Yeah.
You want to clip? Yeah, you want to clip that?
Yep. Clip that. Chat. Clip that.
It's good stuff. Yeah, but I felt like that was it was a fun dynamic with everybody at the table. But let's jump right into War Stories. I think I'll get to our guest, but Shay, I wanted to ask you, being at it, like, obviously we haven't played too much with the regular cast at this point, but I feel like we've got those characters kind of locked in, and the sort of dynamics between all the players is kind of getting hammered out. But in the middle of that, having to jump, sitting in a seat away, right? Because you weren't in your regular seat, and then playing with Emily, Melanie, missing a few of our cast. So did that present any problems for you? Did you were you able to get into character and kind of, feel it out a little bit?
Oh yeah. So Noah, I couldn't, when I first made Noah, I couldn't decide whether I wanted them to be a guy or a girl, and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna post this character description without a gender, and then just play with voices and see where I land on it. And I have played another campaign that's, I have a southern accent, a woman with a southern accent, but with a really low voice.
Mhm.
And I was like, what if I went lower? What if I went lower? And it's really easy to be like cocky as a guy, in my opinion. So
Oh, I mean, I'm
I
not going to deny it.
I decided to go with it, and honestly, it felt really right.
Yeah,
It felt really easy.
sure.
I More of it is stressful. More of it is a lot to think about. So this felt more like, "Mm, maybe we'll see Noah again. Maybe he'll die. Who knows?"
Yeah, yeah.
So
And what's fun is you guys made canon characters in this world that now I have. That you never know. You never know what might happen. Who knows where you'll come upon these people? Maybe they're all dead. You
that's
don't
a lot
know.
of trouble. That is a lot of trouble. Yeah.
I no, I enjoyed Noah a lot. In our employees only Discord chat, we were chatting. We were discussing who Noah was and what kind of like. I feel like I just need to pull it up and read that conversation if I can find it.
Yes.
Let's
That
see.
was a great conversation,
Um,
mostly because of the conversation between you and Mel.
I need to get into character. Okay, so give me one moment. Shay, Noah Sallow, late 20s, tan skin and sun bleached hair from the west coast of Adelia. Very cocky, yet very charming. Also a bit of an adrenaline junkie. Maverick. Emily. When you have a chance of nothing about that, just about classes, blah blah blah. Where are we at? The historian. Myself. I'm assuming Noah is a dude. You didn't actually say, haha. My wife replies with the meme from Jake from State Farm of the man saying, well, she's a guy, so. Jay. Yes, haha. I was going back and forth on it, and I was leaving it open-ended until I made up my mind. Crying, laughing emoji face. Myself.
My favorite
Can't-
emoji.
Myself. Can't wait to hear your dude voice. Shay. Oh, it will be a treat, I'm sure. Crying, laughy emoji face. Crying, laughy emoji face. Myself. Sup, brotatoes. What's chill, my guys? Noah, probably. Shay. Oh, dang, how did you know? Emily. Dang, Noah is so cool. How are we going to compete? Blah, 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 blah. Shay. The irony of it is my lower register can only come out if I'm doing a southern accent. Catch me watching Matthew McConaughey clips all week. Myself. All right, all right, all right. And scene.
That was good.
Thank you.
Bravo.
I'm
Bravo.
surprised you skipped the part of me flirting with your wife.
Is that later? I can't remember. That's later in the conversation.
Yeah.
I have to look through it.
Hmm.
But yes, so Noah the Maverick was a I didn't know how you were going to play him, whether he would be more uh I figured he was gonna be kind of down to earth, but like was he gonna be a serious person in
Mm,
the midst of not or in the middle of very serious things?
hmm No, I
Didn't seem
mean,
that way.
no. I have the idea, like the psyche behind him just being like, this is another experience to be had. This is
Mhm.
another like it's like cliff diving in Gale, which is how his parents died. It's just an
Mhm.
experience, and if it kills you, it kills you. Oh
For
well.
sure. For
But at
sure.
least you had fun,
Mhm. Mhm.
and you could say you did it. You can say he was the lieutenant in the war
Yeah.
if he survives it.
Who knows? Did what was that question in my brain? Oh, do you, player Shay, not any character, um, do you want to or are like that in certain ways? You're like, experiences, let's go for it.
I think down to the core, I am an experienced person. Like I'm a gut person. If you follow the Enneagram, type
Mhm.
1 is one of the gut. I don't know, personality things.
Mhm.
That's what I've been told. Um, uh, I do very much run by like how I'm feeling and what I'm like. Why not? Why not? I can say that I am not like an adrenaline junkie. I'm not like I hate roller coasters. I do. I don't want to go skydiving. I don't like. I've tried snowboarding and snow skiing, and I don't like it.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't like those things. So I don't do them. But I will do other experience, and I will try anything
Yeah,
at least once.
sure.
So I think so. I think I'm like that
Hmm.
to an extent.
I am afraid of heights. I do like roller coasters. I think they're fun, but the skydiving thing, I think I'd have an issue with that personally.
I think it's the falling.
Yeah.
I think I'm afraid of falling. So um, the feeling of like the drops in roller coasters.
Uh-huh.
I have asthma, and so you start like screaming as you're
Mhm.
going down, and if you run out of air and you're still going down, you just can't take a breath in, and it feels like you're gonna die. That's what I experience at least.
That does
So
not
roller
sound
coasters without drops, I will ride.
okay.
I kind of enjoy them sometimes,
Are
but
you are you describing a monorail at this point? I think.
if you've been to Hershey Park, Great Bear,
Yes.
it has like one drop,
That's
and
true.
it's not too tall, so I sometimes enjoy riding Great Bear.
Okay. Fair. I would say for me it's the hesitation of the height. The
Mm,
fall part, like if I went skydiving, it would be the initial part of it.
getting
Getting
off
getting
the
off. Like I
plane,
would
yeah.
be like, "Mm." But as in the air, then I'd be like, okay, I'm all right with this. So
Yeah. I think that's the problem is that the anticipation doesn't necessarily get to me. I'm when I was a kid, I was notorious for climbing trees
Mhm.
and not and being too scared to get down, and someone has to come get me because I'm like, I can't get down. I don't know how to get down now.
Yeah,
Like a
that's
cat.
I've done these. I can look. I'm looking at my childhood right now. Thank you for that. Um, so I'm gonna jump over to you, Emily. That way, I know that you guys are dealing with the mic situations with the back and forth. So, um, but your first time at obviously you've been around the tabletop table. That's not what I meant. But first
Mhm.
time, debuting, and first time playing Ordnance as well. So
Mhm.
a different rule set and things. So tell me the inspiration for your character whose name I definitely know, but I want to test you. And ask you if you remember what her name was.
It's a good question. It's already out of my mind, to be honest. Now I'm gonna have to go back to it.
It was Isla something.
It was Isla.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I always said Gregory in my mind, and I don't know why, because that's not the last name that I chose for her.
Yeah.
Don't ask me. But like I think it must have been like a name that like I thought of, and I was like, no, I don't like Gregory. Like it has to be somebody else. But that's just
remember.
because. Do you? You should remember. I'm still trying to find it. There it is. Where's my picture?
Guys, I barely remember your character's names.
Douglas.
That's
It's
it.
Douglas. Isla Douglas.
Mm-hmm.
There it was.
Did she have an accent?
Oops. She was supposed to.
Yeah.
I said she was supposed to, but I knew I wasn't gonna be able to keep it. So I was like, I'm not even gonna try. Cause like I can do like, the generic British accent. I could
Mhm.
probably do something more southern. But like to do it and still think about what I'm saying, that's when like it's all off the table at that point.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I'll probably like try really hard to get like an introduction out with an accent, but like I don't want to go too hard on anything else. And then I was like, you know what? I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah, for sure. So the inspiration for Isla,
Mhm.
what, you just like red hairs or what? What's
I
the
do.
what's the
I like
thought
secretly
process?
wish that I was a redhead.
Okay.
No, because I feel like if you've ever played any sort of a game with me, all of my characters look the same. They're all some like really pale blonde haired like girl. So I was like, well, okay, well I can't do blonde because like literally that's my entire persona of every single character I've ever played. Um and then I was like, well, I kind of like the whole like maybe being like Irish or like something along those lines. And I was like, okay, well then that gives me red hair
Mhm.
and like a whole bunch of freckles and all that stuff. And yeah, I just wanted to play something just a little bit different than what I'm used to playing. Which I mean, she still kind of has the same attitude that most of my characters have, but whatever.
Um, I was actually surprised when Mel made a character with brown hair
No.
because she was the first one to pick her character, and
Hmm.
she didn't go with the redhead, which was
Yeah.
so surprising.
And I think that might have been like in the back of my mind as to why I chose that because I was kind of expecting her to do that.
Mhm.
So I was like, well, if she's not gonna do it, I guess I have to. I have to be the
Yep.
token redhead.
Yep. Uh, it's kind of it's kind of amazing. Like if you would look at our family, my family specifically,
Hmm.
that there's no redhead children. I don't
Yeah.
know,
Hmm.
but so the system. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna just jump into the chat here a little bit. If we're going to get to chat questions later, so if anybody wants to ask us, doesn't have to be about the game, doesn't have to be about welcome to the table. If you just want to ask us some questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. We'll jump back to them maybe later if I can see them, and we can talk about some things. Where was I?
You just said the
You
system.
playing? Yes, you
Yes.
playing Ordnance.
Mhm.
And obviously, you're familiar with D&D and
Hmm.
all of how that works. Did you find this easy to pick up?
It was somewhat easy because I knew, obviously, because I know just from playing tabletop games, like there are checks you need to make. Like I know I'm going to be rolling dice. And then I feel like I had a little bit of an easier time because I've been watching everybody else play. Especially because I was there I was there the very first time that we did just a game. We didn't like or it was a test stream. I think that's what we did.
Mhm.
And so I was there when everyone was saying, "Oh, what am I supposed to do for this?" or "How many dice am I supposed to be rolling for this?" So I kind of had that in the back of my mind. So I had like a little bit of an easier up on like maybe somebody who's coming in completely new.
Yeah, for sure. Um, it's one of those things that it's hard to for you guys as players, like as we make skill checks and things, it's hard to. I mean, obviously, even with D&D, you don't quite know what it's going to be, right? Because the DM can kind of choose anything, but with
Mhm.
only 6 skill checks, I feel as someone running the game that it can probably be a little random. So, like, if there's any, like, sometimes you're like, what was the logic behind that?
Mm.
But I didn't know if that was, if you felt that way when playing it, if you had any, like, thoughts on, like, this was not, uh, not quite how I expected it to be or go or anything.
Not necessarily. I will say that like I felt myself trying to um kind of see like the rules of D&D in ordinance. So
Mhm.
like when you would say like to make a check, I'm like, "Oh, which one is this? Is this insight? Is this dexterity?" Like I'm like in my mind going, "Okay, he said this. It
Right.
must mean this."
Yeah. And even you guys know, as we're at the table, I will
Mhm.
say the wrong word for something.
Mhm.
Uh, I'll say the D&D word versus the one for but that happens. Um, to piggyback off of that question, Shay, now that you've been doing this system a long time, I say a long time. It's not really been a long time. Um, do you think that the one thing that I like as we're going, I'm like, was the goal of trying to provide more freedom, was that did we hit that goal, or do you feel like it's way more limiting?
Hmm. Um, I would say as far as the skill checks go, well, just kind of just to start this whole answer,
Yeah.
when you presented the idea of ordinance to us, you were like, the point is to focus on role play,
Mm.
and so there's not a lot of rules, there's not a lot of options like there is in like D&D and Pathfinder and that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Because I want to focus on the role play aspect of it. And I was like, okay, I can get on board with that.
Mhm.
Um, as far as skill checks go, and not necessarily being consistent in what you roll for what you do, I wouldn't necessarily say that's like an issue, because I mean, you think about what you do every day. You might do the same thing at work every day, but there's different circumstances and different experiences surrounding it. So you might
Mhm.
have to roll with a different skill check depending on the circumstances of
Hmm.
what you're doing that day. So I don't see a problem with that. But I do feel like, as someone who's used to playing a spellcaster in D&D, there's a lot more limitations in combat.
Right.
Um, where you're like, okay, how do I not just shoot my gun 6 times
Mhm.
in a row? How do I
Right.
role play this combat
Mhm.
using the rules and trying to like, my favorite thing is to like, I guess maverick is the right word for it, but to like
Yeah.
come up with creative ways to do something.
Mhm.
Um, if you don't have the tools, or like the specific like, these are all the details surrounding this situation, it's harder to find creative ways
Yeah.
through the problem.
Yep.
So yeah, I think kind of where I'm sitting with the system is like there's an aspect that you can be freer with roleplay, and it doesn't matter. That's life. But there's also like, okay, I don't really know what to do right now,
Right.
and
Right.
I'm not sure how to roleplay it. But we'll see what happens.
Mhm.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. I do wonder if like as the game moves forward, right? Because again, I think I told you guys I would even the credits we call it Ordinance 1.0, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not even close to that at this point. Like what that looks like, and if the role play aspect of it could be really brought, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Can be highlighted even in combat with stuff. Really, where it comes down to is it's just there's a what I have to remember for myself when I look at those things and get a little bit, um, I guess, self-conscious with sharing this with the world is that D&D has had 50 years.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so this is going to grow and evolve, and hopefully, you know, with good feedback, it can grow in good ways. And it's not. I don't want it to belong to me.
Right.
Is really where it comes down to.
Right.
So,
yeah.
However, that needs to happen and grow. That would be cool. So, but yeah. So Emily, um, the did you have you had any acting experience?
Yes, so I did theater back in high school. I was homeschooled, so I was a part of like a co-op. And then we had a director, actually a past sight and sound director. He was our
Wow.
teacher. So I did 2 years. I know I did at least 2 big productions with that. Might have been 3. But yeah, so I had a little bit. And then I did church acting. Someone in our church just always did like Christmas programs and stuff like that. So I always did that.
Yeah.
I feel like I always did it as a kid too. Awanas
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, so I had a little bit.
Did it feel strange to jump on camera with a system you're not familiar with, and not only play a game, right, but then you're like, oh, this is a show. We have to
Mhm.
maybe perform a little bit as well. How did
Absolutely,
that
yeah.
feel?
It felt a little nerve-wracking, I'm not gonna lie. Like,
Yeah.
my brain doesn't do well thinking ahead of, like, I usually just say what I'm thinking.
Yep.
So, like, trying to still speak, and then, like, while I'm speaking, I'm like, "Nope, I'm probably just rambling because I know that I have to keep talking because this is a
Mhm.
show, and if I just stop going and just go, then it's not gonna be good content." Or maybe it will, who knows?
That was the thing that we ran into when Matt and I were on, trying to get that D&D podcast together.
Mm, mhm.
Because like, we didn't really set out to make one, and I think that was the one thing that, as a first-time DM, I was like, "I need to keep this interesting." Oh, no. Um, and that did not happen, uh, all the time. Definitely not. And then, like, Matt, your thoughts on this then when it was
So I
because it
think,
felt like go ahead.
yeah. So like, I think part of it was you had like myself, our friend Tyler,
Mhm.
Seth, not the Seth that's part of this, different Seth, uh, and Josh, who like didn't necessarily have experience doing stuff. And
Mhm.
then, like you said, we didn't really set out to do it. It was just like, hey, you know, we're playing this game every single week, basically. Hey, let's try something.
Yeah.
And in the long run, it didn't work out. There's hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of our voices on a computer somewhere,
It's still there.
Hopefully.
just waiting. I think.
I gotta jump.
Well, I think we have the first episode.
Yes, we do. I'm gonna interrupt you 1 second, Matt, to say, hey, thanks, Umi, for the subscription.
Yes. Well,
So kind. Love
we
it.
will use your subscriber money to buy an actual air horn for next time. We got the duck,
There we go.
duck quack. Yeah.
I like it. Perfect. That's awesome. Yeah, so all that to say, Emily, I think you did well. I know that it was nerve-wracking, and especially when you have to like jump in on something. So at this point, does it feel like we've been playing for like a long time? Like it feels
It
like
does.
so,
Mhm.
and I'm sure that was in the back of your brain where some of this stuff feels kind of pre-established and you're just kind of like jumping in and being like, this is going to be a different dynamic.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. And I was thinking it while you were saying like about the hours that you have like doing the podcast is that you almost have to just like create a disconnect in your brain that like yes, you're still putting on content for people, but if you're thinking too much about it, then it becomes
Yep.
like it's obviously staged and like that's not what we want. We want this to be an authentic game.
for
So
sure.
you just have to like yeah, like I said, disconnect that and just say, I'm just gonna have fun. And then hopefully that fun is entertaining for other people.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
go ahead. You.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's kind of there was that was also there in the back of my head with Noah, knowing that Mel and Emily were coming into play. I was like, I think I need to push for a more charismatic player
Mm.
character in
Mhm.
case, you know, Emily and Mel aren't up to role playing as much. I was like, I came up with like a few like phrases that he would say or like story time, you know, like and just being like I can fill space. But yeah, it's also it if an awkward silence happens, you know, I can't talk about the last episode. But
Mhm.
if your characters if a natural awkward silence happens, that's not something unusual and it's something that happens in real life all the time. People just stare at each other and that is real and it can be content if it's played in the right context. So
Absolutely. Yep.
Mhm.
it's a
Despite
game, but it's also real life.
right.
Right.
Despite what the movies tell you, not everybody talks like Marvel characters.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
Yeah,
and
I also did have that in the back of my mind too. I was thinking, "Oh, I'm going to be joining a game with like two actors who like can be over the top and like naturally over the top in that
Mhm.
mindset." Um thinking, "Great, should I try and like outdo them?" And then I'm like, "No, I can't." I can because then it'll turn into a train wreck.
yeah. Uh But that's the fun thing about I think we know each other that even if you went for it, I think people would have just matched your energy. Like yeah,
Probably, yeah.
you
Because like
know?
I think especially like when we were talking about our characters before starting the war stories and like as soon as Shay had like introduced like this is my character, I was like, this is gonna be a flirt, and I either need to flirt back or it
Mhm.
needs to be ridiculously like against that. And then like there's this whole backstory, small backstory that I had for the character that like then I think I said it to you, Shay, afterwards. I was like, I had this like thing in my mind that like if you were gonna be older, you were probably like one of my older brother's friends that I was like, this is ridiculous. You're just a flirt. Like I don't like
Mhm.
being with you like or around you because you're like my brother's like best friend kind of a thing, but you're annoying. And then yeah. So like that was like in the back of my mind, and then of course you get in front of the camera and you just forget all of it, and you just play.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Um, I, as running a different group, you know, in the back of my brain, I was wondering if I needed to add in things or not, you know,
Mm.
to keep things moving. Because what I gave you guys was not necessarily something that was going to be a, you know, oh, this, they're going to know each other, blah, blah, blah. But you had a mission. There wasn't time to sit and talk, all that kind of stuff. Like, it was like, this is tasks that need done. And I didn't know necessarily if that was going to be fun for you guys. But I was like, well, we'll go for it and see what happens. But I liked the thinking outside of the box. Some of the things that I was like, all right, cool, let's go with this. Let's roll with this. This is fun. The way to get into the base, the trying to remember things that I had like not thought about. I was like, I figured at some point you guys would break in the fence, like with some sort of bolt cutters and things like that. But the Jeep thing, was not expecting that.
Mm.
I honestly don't think we were expecting it either, to be honest.
That was fun. So all that to say, I'm curious as how War Stories is going to go if we want to continue whenever we do those, jump in on those same characters, or and that, you know, the chat can let us know what they thought of that group. But like, if you guys want to play them again, you know, that's one of those things that like after you play a character, sometimes you're like, no, I don't want to do that one again.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts?
I'd play Noah again. I would also play Dorothy because
Yeah.
the Dorothy was the girl I played in our test games of Ordnance. I liked her backstory a lot as well.
Mm.
I just wanted to try something different this time. So I'd do both. I'd flop
Yeah.
back and forth, or yeah.
Yeah, I'd totally play with my character again. I'd also like it'd be fun to try something else. And I know Seth isn't here to like speak for his character, but like he alluded to us. He's like, "Oh, I can't wait for next time." And then he's like, "No, I don't think I'm going to let you guys know." And I was like, "You can't say that." Cuz now I'm going to be thinking about that 24/7.
Uh-huh.
But I really liked his character, and it was like exactly like when he showed us the picture of that, it's exactly who I thought he was going to be playing.
Mhm.
It was just great.
Yeah, to know these backstories a little bit that you guys don't know, oh, it's fun.
Yeah.
Really fun. And no, you will not get it out of me.
That's fine.
Hey, do you guys want to do some show and tell?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Do it.
absolutely.
Yes. May I
Yay.
request to maybe go first because I have to get
Yeah.
going
Yep,
shortly.
absolutely.
Let me
Oh, by Matt gets set up.
just keep it there.
Chat.
I'll just stand up.
On the Game Awards, who's gonna win Game of the Year?
Oh.
For those that don't know, here, let me just Game of the Year nominees. No.
Thank you, Matthew.
Yes. If I can spell.
The Lady Goldfish. Boulder Gate.
Okay,
Baldur's
so
Gate.
you have
Baldur's.
Alan Wake 2, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Baldur's Gate 3, Resident Evil 4, and Marvel's Spider-Man 2. I
I think
agree.
I think-
Baldur's Gate, Mel. I agree.
I think it has to be Tears of the Kingdom. It was so popular.
It was so good.
But Baldur's Gate is so good.
As someone who really likes the old Zelda style, like the classic Zelda style, both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are not my jam as much. But I can like appreciate them for what they are, essentially. But then this year was just stacked because also as a horror game fan, like first of all, I think it's going to be Baldur's Gate 3, and I've had with all of those, that's been the one that I've played the most. But as a horror game fan, I feel like Resident Evil 4 should deserve a place, but it's not going to.
Things to share with the class. Well, I almost grabbed it. Cool.
It's not going to happen because of the year. Is he setting up a whole like? Do you have like a poster board with the presentation?
Yep.
I
Good.
also can't hear, so.
This is my science experiment. This is the.
I should have had you do like a PowerPoint.
I should have done a PowerPoint. I'm gonna try. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, awesome. So my chair's in the way. This is gonna be hard because my
Do you need me
headphone
to-
cable is only so long. There we go. Okay, so
Don't drop it.
I'm trying not to. Okay, so this is the Concorde in Lego form. Lego is one of the most peaceful things for me. I will sit there for 4 hours and watch many episodes of podcasts or TV shows and just sit there and go to town. This is my most recent addition to the collection of my display. I have the Saturn V rocket. It's humongous, and the last time I tried to pick it up and show it to someone, it broke. So I'm not going to do that.
Oh no.
And then, please don't break. I should put this back,
You should.
but the cord on my headphones isn't long enough. So, you know what? Headphones have to come off. I'm not dropping it.
That's fair. I love how when the headphones come off, the earbud is still there.
Okay. And then my other favorite thing, other than what? I
I was
can't
gonna
hear.
say no. I know. I was gonna say Nate said that he loves that when your headphones come off, the earbud is still there.
Oh yeah, it's how I'm listening to the stream to make sure it
Nice.
sounded good. So I have an earbud in. So this is rather dusty, but it is the Space Shuttle Discovery.
That's awesome.
In Lego form. Again, love Legos. But I also really love space. So basically every space Lego set they've come out with, I have purchased and is in some of them are in a closet right now because I don't have space to show them off. But this is probably one of my favorites, other than the Saturn V.
That is awesome.
I'll put that on the stand later.
That's where we all keep them. All of Matt's recent projects. That it.
And then you just got Mjolnir.
Mjolnir.
Jonathan, yes.
Jonathan?
Jonathan. Like, pretty big. It comes with a rock. It has this rock thing that you can, like, put it on. It has lightning on it. I don't know if you can
Nice.
hear me, but
Yeah.
awesome. But yeah, other than that, that's my show and tell. I'm a Lego nerd.
Those are really cool pieces. I like it. Thank you,
I have
Matthew.
too many. Emily complains.
I do complain.
But with that, I must get going. So I'm just gonna mute my mic, and
Okay.
you all have a great one. I'm gonna go find out who wins some awards.
Yeah, let us know.
Yep. If when they announce it, if you're still talking, I'll run over and it was
Perfect.
Baldur's Gate. It was Baldur's Gate because it has to be.
Yeah, dude. Thank you.
See you guys.
Who wants to go next?
Oh, I don't care. I can go.
Go, Emily.
I have, and I had to go searching for it. I have the very first mini that I ever had for my very first character. This was
Hey,
it's
I've
gonna
seen
be-
that one before.
Yep, and she's very she's starting to wear out. That was not all. I think it was a very light gray, but it was just some Wizard of the Coast. I think pre-done. I didn't have it made specifically, but I was this looks just like my character. And her name was Bryn. She was a necromancer. And then I have the very first set of dice that I ever used with her.
Nice.
And I still have them and I cherish them.
That's so cute.
Yeah. That's what I have.
Nice. I'll go.
Do it.
I have to get it out of my roll top desk. Hang on.
The roll top desk is cool in and of itself.
It is pretty
Right?
cool. I just set it up. It's free.
Cool.
I have a lot of knickknacks because I'm a collector. I like things. I like to collect cool things. I just got that at a estate sale.
Nice.
I thought she was creepy and delightful, and it's a replica of Diana. The Diana bust. Anyway, that's not what I'm showing you. I'm showing you this. It
I'm
is
seeing an egg.
Yep, it is a Rhea egg. So I did my college internship at the Smithsonian Zoo in DC. I lived there for 4 months. I worked there for 4 months. And I worked at the birdhouse. I was the only intern for the whole Smithsonian that applied for the birdhouse specifically. So I was the only person they picked. Usually they have 2 or 3 interns a semester, and
Yeah.
they didn't want anyone working with birds that didn't like birds.
That's fair.
So they got me, and I got to do a lot of really fun things. I got to work with a lot of endangered and extinct in the wild species because they're all about conservation, mostly while cleaning poop. But rayas are essentially the emu ostrich of South America.
Okay.
A little bit smaller, a little bit friendlier, and this was an actual egg that they laid that they taught me how to empty and clean, and I got to keep it.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Is it super thick walled? I'd be so afraid to hold it.
It is if I apply a decent amount of pressure, nothing it's not moving. But if I dropped it, it would definitely break.
Yeah.
So.
Which, as you say that, I'm stressed out.
Right?
No, I'm gonna put it back in. I have Jordan said he's gonna 3D print me a stand for it.
That would be cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
So how long has it been since you got that then?
Let's see. That was spring of 2014.
Okay.
That I did that internship. So.
Okay.
10 years almost.
And you didn't break it.
It's been sitting on my shelf it's moved with me, and it's one of my favorite things. I like birds. Yes, Mel, I like birds. I can also show this. I'm scared because the rest of the room is a mess. So have moved locations of where I'm here.
If everybody has seen the mess of my house, I'm sure it's nothing compared.
I can also just move the webcam. That would be the easiest thing probably, because then I can still watch. Recently, I said I like to buy things and go to estate sales and thrift shops and stuff. But I found bookshelves to make the library wall of my dreams in our front room here. So you can see it is not finished. We're gonna do there's an extra bookshelf there because I bought too many. But we're gonna raise them to the ceiling and put cabinets on the bottom and paint them. And
very cool.
Yeah, and there's Dana dead on the floor.
Nice.
But there's an entire shelf right in the middle there that is just filled with books about birds.
Very cool.
Birds.
Mhm.
Government drones.
Government drones.
I was wondering if you were going to show us those bookshelves. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I'm gonna have to go with you to like some estate sales. That sounds like fun.
I actually do them online. There you can bid and auction
Oh.
online.
Oh, you know what? I think Cameron used to do that all the time because I
Yeah.
remember when we'd be playing or doing something, he'd like show me on his phone. He's like, "Look at these. Like those
And
are really cool." He's like, "I think I'm gonna buy them."
It's so dumb because if nobody like sees the estate sale or cares about what's being sold, you can get them for like a cent, like something really ridiculously cool for
Right.
like a cent or like $5.
Wow.
Yeah,
Huh.
That is
she
cool.
was $3. hmm
That is
Mhm.
cool.
I just found my free time activity next time.
I'll text you the websites I use.
Yes. Start saying
Um,
random things in our house. Be like,
yeah.
Shay told me that I needed to go to estate
Mhm.
sales, and this is what I've been doing. Collecting things.
These cane back chairs that are high backed and really cool,
Mm.
free off the side of the road.
Good finds. Very good
Yeah,
finds.
we love those.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Awesome.
think you can see now that the light. That's my cat right there,
Yeah.
like glowing.
Yep. Oh, we had to grab a mouse that one of our cats had grabbed down to the basement
Oh,
earlier.
gross. But you found it in the house?
So she was playing with it. Celeste was playing with it.
Gross.
Yeah. Yep.
Was it alive?
Yeah.
Gross.
And she ran from us and went under the bed with the mouse.
Oh.
Yes, Mel grabbed the mouse. I was going to grab the mouse, but it went under the bed and she could reach it.
I believe you, Nate.
So I guess I'll show you guys my stuff. Though the camera sees this one all the time, but it's stuff that it's fun for me and things that mean stuff because they're tied to certain memories. So I will pull this down.
I thought you were gonna pull off. I think that's the gold edition Majora's Mask.
Yes, it is the gold edition of Majora's Mask.
That's what I see. I don't even look at anything else.
So this is a Keyblade from Kingdom Hearts. You guys have both seen this, but the internet has not. But Kingdom Hearts 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. The Kingdom Hearts series is near and dear to my heart. And this I bought this the first time I was at the Ren Fair. So they had, I don't even remember, like, some random vendor there, but and it's got the little Mickey keychain on it and things, but this thing's hefty and the whole thing spins like it would, but I don't even now it's one of these things that I kind of forget about it because it's just hanging somewhere. So but yeah, that one is fun to me, and Mel was there when I bought that one. Actually, I will show you 3 things because now that I'm thinking about this, 2 seconds. Okay,
Wow.
so this is not a Buster Sword from Final Fantasy VII, but it is something very close to one. And Mel bought this for me for a birthday at one
Aw.
point. And I don't know if it still turns on or not. So it used to light up, but I don't know if it will, and I don't even remember how to turn this thing on. It's literally been years since I've tried. I'll have to like search for that button on the bottom, maybe. I'll look for it. But Final Fantasy is a lot of my favorite things. So by showing you Kingdom Hearts memorabilia and Final Fantasy memorabilia, you're already getting half of my personality, I think, is what's happening right now. Man, where is that button at?
Is it made out of like foam? Because
It's
you're like
foam.
Okay,
Yes,
I was
it
like,
is
you're just like
awful.
whipping that around like it's made of nothing.
Wait. Yeah, it's not gonna turn on. But it used to, like, I might have changed the batteries, but the whole thing, like, up the wherever there was like these little spaces, it was like LEDs in there, and they would all light up and things. So that is that. And then the last thing, eh,
We're losing you, Shay.
is-
It doesn't like when I leave the camera frame. It's like, oh, you don't exist anymore.
Yep.
That's okay. Like at one point, mine focused on something Matt was doing over there, and I was like, "Why am I blurry?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's because Matt's moving around over there."
dropping things. And then this one, again, you guys have seen this, but now this is pod racing. Another, I think this was like one of the first gifts Melanie ever bought for me.
Wow.
So this would have been back when we were in high school that I've had this. And yes, all of my kids have worn this. And trying to think, nieces, nephews, all of them. So there's, kid sweat all up in there. I don't know if I could get it on my head anymore.
Try it.
Nice.
That's as good as I can do. It's a
We
child-size
love that.
helmet. It's a child-size helmet, and I have a large head. That's the weird part is, as much as I love the original trilogy, Star Wars, like I don't think I have literally anything. That's the only Star Wars memorabilia that I own, and that's it.
Mm.
So, but yeah, those were my show and tell. Honestly, not as cool as your guys. I liked yours better.
No.
Beat me.
Wrong.
Nah. There is no wrong answer with show and tell.
There's no wrong answer.
There is no wrong answer with show and tell. You're right, Emily.
It's funny that as I'm like watching you guys pull that stuff out and thinking of why we keep some of those things.
Mhm.
Because I don't consider myself a collector, but then look,
Right.
you know, um,
I wish. Ooh, hold on. I might have something else that I could show.
do it. How long did you were you in that internship for?
4 months.
Okay.
A whole semester. Yeah. I
Okay.
lived right behind the Supreme Court. Like right next to right down the street from the Library of Congress. Like I
Okay.
was mid city. It was great.
I don't know DC very well.
It's complicated because it's old. Old city, but
Yeah.
it's honestly, I don't really like the city that much, like cities that much, but I love DC because there's just something. It doesn't feel like a city in a lot of the places. There's like
Mhm.
districts within the district, um, and each one has its own little charm.
Yeah.
Um, and another thing about DC, which is this is I don't know. I learned this while I was there. I don't know how normal this is in other cities, um, but government provided housing is not in one area. It's not all in the same neighborhood. It is spread out through the city.
Okay.
So there's not like a projects section that's lower
Right.
income. That
Right.
it is most of the city is well taken care of because
Mhm.
that pay scale is spread out.
Right. Interesting.
That's
Yeah,
just,
'cause
that is the information I was given. I could be totally wrong about that, and things could have changed since I was there. So
someone who doesn't know much about DC, I will choose to believe what you said. What do you got?
good. Say confidently.
That's right.
I couldn't find it. I'm kind of upset. I think it's somewhere in
Oh.
our garage. It was when you were talking about just like not being a collector of things, and like
Mhm.
I myself never thought I was a collector of things, but I have a Hawaiian Punch, like old, like vintage lunchbox that is filled with buttons from like when my grandfather was a kid, and like I
Mhm.
like inherited all these buttons that like I've just like kept collecting. And I didn't realize that I was collecting until all of a sudden I realized I've got an entire lunchbox full of
Mhm.
super old buttons that are like rusted over.
Now this
But some from like old Walt Disney and stuff that like he
your
like places
small
where he used to
owl
work.
boy makes so much more sense now.
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
And his collector of buttons.
Yep.
Uh, remember I said I was I'll pull this up close to the camera. Oh my goodness. Just gonna throw stuff down that's falling. Liking the old style Zelda. So this was a birthday card um, from my niece, and she made that.
Wow. That's so good. I love that.
That's from Ella.
Aw.
Oh.
Like recent or like from a while
Yeah, it would have
ago.
been this year.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's so sweet.
Yeah. It's like that is legit, dude. Well done. um,
Yeah.
and go ahead.
We
What were you
just
saying?
like I feel like I collect things because there's a lot of things that mean something to me and that have a memory attached to it.
Mhm.
I have a really bad memory. Like,
Mm.
oh, there's a cat behind you.
There she
I'm really
was.
excited. And so like I will go through a box of like junk and I'm like, this is from wow, this thing that happened that I have totally forgotten about until this moment.
Mhm.
Um, but there's also there's this and hear me out. My grandmother was a hoarder,
Mm.
and we cleaned out her house of 50 years. It was like when I was mid-teens. I helped with that.
Mm.
Horrible, and I was like, I'm
Yeah.
never gonna be like that. So I'm very picky about what I do keep,
Yeah.
but there's always this like idea of my mind is that like I might use that at some point.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Especially I've done cosplay before, and I had a gun that like a stupid toy gun I dug out of my backyard. I don't know how old it is. It it's not. I don't think it's a real gun. I don't think it was
Does
used
that
to
does
murder
that
anyone in the
does that have a little
1800s.
orange there's a little orange tip on it?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Then who knows, right?
Then who knows? But I ended up like I cosplayed Dolores a few years ago from Westworld,
Okay.
and she has that revolver that she uses. So I had that, and I was like, this is the perfect prop, and it like completed the outfit because it was like, this kind of just looked blonde girl in a blue dress. But once I had the revolver, I was like, this is perfect. So you never know. If it's not something necessarily sentimental, you might be able to use it someday.
Right.
Now that I play D&D, there's so many things that could be D&D props.
Mhm.
And then you show up sometimes at welcome to the table for playtest and things and other stuff, and you're in costume, and I'm like, well, I'm underdressed.
Yeah, that was fun.
hmm
Yeah, Sarah and Shay single-handedly keeping the vibe.
Yep. Uh, they're they're allowed to they're allowed to keep the vibe. I will not be a keeper of vibes. That's That's not in my job description.
Dana,
I think
no.
it technically is in your job description because as the historian, you set the vibe,
I can set it, but
but you won't
then
keep it.
I'm not the keeper of the vibes.
There.
I think
Hi, Pupper.
Dana was
wow,
trying to
Dana
hang
has a
herself
feud.
on my cords.
No.
Dogs, man. Or
She
fake
just didn't know how to get out of it.
fake foxes.
He called you fake.
True story, this was yesterday. Was it yesterday? No, it's not a true story because I don't remember what day it was. Doesn't matter.
He's
Mel
making
and
it
the
up,
kids
guys.
Mel and the kids stopped
Based on a true story.
based on a true story. Mel and the kids stopped into my office, and there's a calendar there that I did not purchase. It's just there. And other people come into my office and change it for me because I don't change it. But December's is a fox, very clearly a fox.
Hmm.
And my 1.5-year-old son walks in, looks at it, and says, "Puppy."
Am I confusing
Accurate.
him? Is Dana confusing him on what a
I think
fox
so.
is?
I think so.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What does the fox say? It barks.
It definitely barks.
hmm
The same. It's a puppy.
It's the same thing. It's a puppy.
Seth can attest to the fact that I have 3 fox mugs, I think. And they're his favorite, and he always uses them.
Wow.
Fox is to me a very interesting and what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. I think they're cool. That's about it.
Yeah.
They are
You-
cool.
Deep thought on foxes.
So you know the movie magic thing where it's like the movie is scarier if you don't see what the monster is for for most of the movie?
Yep.
I
Mhm.
feel like it's that way with foxes because they're so recluse. You're just like, wow, they're
Mhm.
so mysterious and cool.
Yep.
Mhm.
They must be an amazing animal. But they're really just hiding in a hole, being like, I'm so scared of people.
Yep. 100%. That's it. One used to come in our barn a lot. He would go in and out and eat the dog food or cat food, something that was out there. And so we would see him slink out of the barn. Never ate any of the chickens or anything.
Well, that's nice of
Wow.
him.
Considerate.
So I guess whatever's easiest, right? That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah. I feel like foxes also get blamed for a lot of things that like possums and raccoons do.
Mm. They're just misunderstood.
They're misunderstood.
Are we about
Right,
to make
Dana?
Are we about to make like social commentary using foxes and possums?
That is what George Orwell did with Animal Farm.
True.
So
Very true.
I don't need to repeat that.
Yep. That's very true. I did not have to read that book in high school.
Mm.
I'm
It's
not
one
sure
of my
why.
favorites.
It's a good one. I just didn't have to read it.
I also didn't have to read it.
1984. Had to read 1984.
Mm.
Brave New World. I'm trying to think of all of the
Fahrenheit 451.
yes. Mhm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um Thank you guys for taking the time to show your little cool stuff.
Always. I have so
Knickknacks.
many more to show.
That's
I'll
good.
I'll find those buttons at some point. I will
think
bring them out.
I think it'll be a regular occurrence. So if anybody is if any of the other cast is listening, make sure that you have something every time we do T7. So don't do what I just did and show like 4 things because then you start running out of things.
We're gonna run out of things.
Mm-mm. Never.
But I was seeing if Seth was still in the chat if he's in his meeting. If he's going to join us then later. So I'm not seeing anything. Chat, did you have any questions for the cast? I know Umi was in the chat. I know there's not a lot of people tonight, which is totally fine. We're thankful for those that are here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard not to talk about the last session that you guys have not seen because I thought it was really
totally
great.
did. Nothing happened.
Nothing happened. Don't worry about it.
We all just got
Mm.
together and just stared at each other from across the rooms. Like it was nothing.
That's it. You're gonna be real bored when you watch it. Um,
Yep. No, we didn't have to restart the second half of it or
Not
anything.
at all.
It wasn't. Mm-mm.
Nope. What was I gonna say? Yes, so I've been working on the new intro, and I've made maybe 2 or 3 versions of it, and then I look at it like another day, and I'm like, I don't like this. Scrap it.
Right? Like story of a creative.
Yeah. Well, so this is what's been in my brain. Alyssa's not in the chat tonight, but she mentioned about like pictures, like it would just look, if it was just pictures of people, it would look like a boring PowerPoint presentation
Mm-hmm.
or something. And I was watching this thing back and I'm like, looks like a boring PowerPoint presentation.
I also
Oh,
realized that you had asked me to resize an image for you like 6.5 years ago, and I forgot about it.
really no big deal. What I've been trying to do with that image, figure out how to kind of like pan images in my
Ooh.
movie software. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see how that goes. But yeah, hopefully the new intro will be on this episode on Sunday.
Whoa.
That's the
No
goal.
way.
It's the goal.
I can't wait to see it at a Christmas party.
At a Christmas party.
Right.
Again, we could just be. You have my permission to be rude on it. I'm not
Do you
sure how it's
think
gonna go over.
right? Do you think the pastor would be approving if I was streaming it during the candlelight service? I don't need a candle. You're just gonna see the glow from my phone
Well,
on my face.
he asked me to do a few songs,
Mm.
so you're gonna see the glow on my face while I'm from a music stand, I guess too.
You should just pre-record your songs and
That's
put it
right.
up on the screen.
That's right. Absolutely.
So we're not doing like people doing their own songs this year.
No. At
Kind of
least
sad.
I don't know. It's so up in the air. It's so up in
So
the air.
sad. I was preparing something this year, but I was never asked.
Wow, how rude.
To be fair, I'm not in charge of it. So
That's fine.
now you guys are getting lore of our church.
Of
Nothing
church
having
life.
to do
Wow.
with church life.
Wow.
Yep.
Yep, we go to church. There's a service.
Mhm.
We have a pastor.
What?
Yeah.
I know.
Heretics.
Taboo.
Heretics.
Actually, I will. You guys reminded me. This is no spoiler, I don't think, but because everybody knows sort of, if you have been watching Welcome to the Table, you know we have a bit of a, would have an
No, it's-
official. What is that
Dana.
face, Dana?
What Dana's doing. Like you said, it's no secret, and all of a sudden her mouth just went open and her eyes went wide. She's listening.
She's hot now. Oh, honey. I can put you down, but you wanted to come up so badly and you're gonna get tangled again. Oh. Oh, good job. You did it. I'm so sorry.
That's
She was
all
so
right.
distracting.
That is no problem. Those that have kind of been watching the show and know who we are, it's no secret that part of this is we believe in Jesus, and we have the heavy themes of that in this in this show, and that kind of we touch on that a little bit in the episode you have not seen, and it's every time that happens. I don't remember what my original point was about this, but I'm just thinking, I'm like, every time we do that, I appreciate that everyone at the table kind of lets that breathe and doesn't make that like some sort of awkward conversation, or makes it like points it out to be like, hey everybody, are you listening? Or tries to change the subject because it's not, some people might watch that and be confused or tune, just turn it off and move on because they don't really want to hear that. But that's kind of, I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on that, but I feel like as we have touched on it, I think that the conversations that we can have, especially like on nights like this, with those that might be in the chat and be like, hey, I'm kind of understanding what you guys are talking about, but do you like, what's the point? Like, what are you doing this for and everything? I think we can definitely have those conversations. What are your thoughts? I don't remember what my original point was to that. It's just things I was thinking about. So,
I mean, you're right. It just it definitely opens up a conversation that a wild Oliver.
Hi. Good night.
they say hi.
Hi, Oliver.
Sleep good, kiddo. I love you.
Eating his hand. Love it. But yeah, it obviously does open up like a conversation that do I know if I'd like be the best one to like kind of lead a conversation like that? No. But like it's just like conversations that we have with, unbelieving friends.
Mhm.
Like it doesn't have to be a, hey, this is my belief and this is what I want to shove down your throat. It's just more of a, this is what I believe, and like if that's something that you're interested in, I'm more than welcome to share my life and like the views and values that I have.
Yep.
We have that with our one friend, with our really close friend, and like he's one that we've invited to church multiple times. And he keeps saying, "Oh yeah, I'll come eventually." And I keep saying, "Well, when will eventually actually happen?"
Mm.
I said something to Matt about inviting him to the Christmas Eve service, and he said, "Do you think he'll actually come?" And I said, "I mean, he told me that he'd come to church with us if he was ever on the same work schedule, that would allow that." Um,
Mm.
so like that's always something that I kind of hope.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead.
we're using this platform of tabletop role playing games to tell that story.
Mm.
And I'm playing a character whose current religious experience is very similar to my own.
Mm.
And so it's not I wouldn't hesitate to have a conversation because I'm no expert. I
Yeah.
I'm a single person who struggles regularly with faith and feelings, and ideas. I have 3 books of theology and philosophy books on my shelves, and I still can't say I have a definitive answer for anything. And as that character I'm portraying, and as this world develops and she develops her faith, and I know where my faith stands, there's conversations. Those conversations can either happen naturally in game or can come really not necessarily easily, but authentically,
Mm-hmm.
because there's no, I'm not afraid to say I don't know, or I'm not afraid to say, like, maybe I'm wrong, and I think that's a very important thing to be able to say in any kind of conversation.
Yeah, for sure. Right now, like what it, some of the themes I think that we throw out when obviously I'm not talking about the times we're talking about, hey, this is the Almighty or Yanua or the scriptures. Those things are we can have those conversations. I think what we've had so far is the things that I want to be careful of, in the sense of, like, oh, Falstaff is it's this nation or it's that nation and they're evil and all that kind of stuff. It's not a political show. That's not what we're doing. you know People can be, I mean, in coming from the viewpoint that everybody is fallen, everybody has uh essentially, I cannot subscribe to the belief if somebody would say that people would be inherently good, because I don't see that in the Bible. Um, so anybody at any point can do terrible things if they allow themselves to do that. Um, so, you know, as we go through this story, what I want to be able to portray is that there are people that do good things and bad things in the situations that they're in. And maybe they have one view of the world that looks very different from mine. And they have their motivations for doing the things that they do. And then people believe good and evil in different situations. People say that one thing is good and someone else says, well, that's bad. So those, you know, when we're portraying these things, I don't want to make it something where I'm just like, hey, these people are good, these people are bad, and what I say is what I say goes in that. Um, so that's what's fun about the role playing aspect with your guys' characters, is because I know the backstories and the way that they. I think all of you have given me specific sort of reason or specific sort of um, worldviews, how you view this world's Christianity, how you view this world's, I guess, this world's values and things. So there are, by looking at that, I'm kind of excited as to how those characters can kind of interact in those situations. If what I would say is, and we talked about this before, was Oliver specifically. I kind of, it's not really a secret that every DM at some point wants to, play a little bit, have themselves somewhere in there. So when you're looking at Oliver at 15, 16 years old, you're kind of looking at Nate at 15, 16 years old. And very and not much has changed for me, in a lot of ways. But the I'm very, 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 very solid on my beliefs about who God is, about who Jesus is, and where I stand in the, you know, where I stand in the eyes of God, sinner saved by grace, with God seeing Christ's righteousness, all of those things. That stuff has not changed for me. Um, but the way that I am now versus the way that I was then is that Oliver doesn't understand why people don't believe what he believes and doesn't have compassion for those that wouldn't. Um, because he's a teenager, first of all, right?
Mm.
But that's how I was. I don't understand. Like, I didn't understand. Why don't you just? That's ridiculous. Why don't you just believe? Um, that. And now Nate at 32 is more in the sense of, I really would love if you had what I had, because I know these things and what the abundant life that comes with it. And I'm sad, and I want to love you, but and just because I know that there's truth there, and that you could be living such a wonderful life. Um, but that's, so there's two different perspectives on that, essentially. Nate has not changed so much, just the outlook.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Mhm. Yeah.
But um and I'm watching. I think there's an ad right now. I'll hold off. Yep. Ad 3 of 3. If you're a subscriber, you're not seeing ads right now. Where it comes down to.
Cheers.
Here's um but I'm excited and curious to see, like, obviously, Shay, what you said with Morbid, and how you're kind of you're bringing yourself into that, and
Mhm.
how you're viewing the world. I think that we can all be respectful of each other, and that,
Mhm.
and have good conversations that get not just the viewers thinking, but us as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I it's hard to, like you said, it's hard to explain to someone why you believe what you believe. Um and and how with how fickle faith is, me expressing my own experiences with God, um it's just not going to necessarily connect with everyone.
Mhm.
Or it's going to sound crazy, or it's going to sound like I'm brainwashed, I'm hearing things, I'm seeing things.
Mhm.
It's not going to land for everyone.
Yeah.
Um, but Morvid's point of view, she shares a lot of similar point of views as I do, but it's also, she's in a place where not necessarily that I was, like you are with Oliver,
Mhm.
but that I almost have had the potential to become.
Mhm.
I have a science degree. I There's obviously a lot of tension between science and
Mhm.
religion,
Mhm.
and um, you know, there's the fight that I had within myself. There's two parts. There's where I am now and where I could have been,
Mhm.
and what I could be believing. And I feel like that's almost where more of it is right now, in that shadow side
Mhm.
of what I believe.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
it does.
Okay.
Mhm. Yep, absolutely. I think we all, in a lot of ways, doubt is a big thing. Well, I shouldn't say it's a big thing for most, but it comes out in different ways in different
Mhm.
people.
Mhm.
Um, if for me, doubt shows up in the ways that I like in my own view of of who God is and um what I can read in the scriptures. The doubt that comes up for me is how could I ever I know the bad things that I've done. Why would how could God forgive those things? Why would he forgive those things? Um it's more of a um what's the word I'm looking for? This is when my brain starts to get tired, so I apologize. Uh it's an inadequacy.
Mhm.
And that comes out that could have been where I went and then just left the faith entirely,
Mhm.
um, because of that.
Mhm.
Almost a nihilistic view in
Yeah.
that sense. Um, and I struggled with that for most of my young life, really, because I just always felt inadequate. Is really where it came down to, um, in a lot of things. So yeah, that I think we can all see ourselves like where our lives would have went in different directions.
Mhm.
That, but um, sorry, I didn't mean to get so heavy, y'all.
That's what we're here for, right?
What we're here for. That is what we're here for. I yeah. Isn't it funny that like as we do these things, we're like we want viewership. We want to have everyone to enjoy their time and watch and be good and have like, build a nice community.
Mhm.
But really, I think the goal that I want is to be real.
Mhm. And I would argue in the flood of this kind of media in particular that people are searching for truth and searching for genuine connection
Mhm.
to real people.
Yep.
Um, and if they happen to be somewhere along a faith journey, then they're hearing stories of people that are in the same place.
Yep. Mhm.
And they might actually be like, wow, this is interesting.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. I'm looking at the time now. I don't want to keep us too late. Um, did you guys have anything else that you wanted to talk about, share, or anything? Still need to figure out what T7 looks like. We'll get there. Chat. Is anybody still watching? You still with us? If anybody jumps in. Um, yeah, the real community um, that that's a good point, Shay. To make it genuine.
Yeah.
That said, if anybody joins our Discord and wants to ask questions on things and stuff too, feel free. And I'm sure that if you have prayer requests or are searching for things, we as a cast will definitely be able to pray for you, reach out, have meaningful conversations. Obviously, we're right now to some of you, it might just be faces on the internet, and we don't understand that you don't want some weird parasocial relationship. That's not what I'm getting at. We can, we can give kind words and help you on a journey if you need that and pray for you. Where it comes down to is I found my hope and trust in Jesus Christ. So I can't give you any other advice other than maybe start there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's 8:45. I think I'm gonna call it, guys. We're good there. So, thank you all for joining us for T7. And let's see, Umi, thanks so much again for the tier 1 sub. That was very nice.
Yay, Umi! It's okay you're late, because Daphne is the best and she deserves all your time.
Good stuff. All right. And thank you both for joining me tonight.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Stay tuned for the new episode of Welcome to Tape. My brain is shutting down. I can't even remember the name of our own show, guys.
Sunday,
Sunday.
6:30 on Twitch.
Thank
New
you.
episode of Welcome to the Table. We have pre-recorded it, and it is pretty great.
I'm excited for the chat on that one.
Oh boy.
It will be hilarious.
I have to admit that I was not expecting you to take us where we were.
You're welcome. Good stuff. And can you get ready to cut the stream then?
Yeah, Matt had showed me what I'm supposed to do, so.
Good stuff. If you wouldn't mind, actually, we'll say our buys, if you wouldn't mind doing that before I jump
absolutely.
us off of Discord.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.
We'll sit here awkwardly while that gets turned off.
Oh.
Join.